I think the Scottish accent's been voted one of the sexiest, but it's also, some of them, one of the most disgusting accents.
100%. The Glaswegian, for sure. Would you ever live back there?
I don't think so. Not for a long time. I've got no desire to move back.
All right, so this is the second episode we're going to do with Craig Haggart, and I've slipped into my Scottish accent. But so I read this recently that Scottish people can't read the word murder without saying it in an even more Scottish accent, even if you're from Scotland.
Murder.
And I'm the same. Yeah. As soon as I see that word written down, I'm like, murder. That's not even the way I say it normally.
No. But especially if someone asks you to say it. Like, the other one they ask you to say is, I can't say it. Purple burglar alarm.
You can't say it. Purple burglar alarm.
Curly Whirly's
Curly
Whirly.
One, yeah.
Purple burglar alarm.
Purple burglar alarm. Maybe because if I was probably going full Scottish, I probably couldn't do it. Purple burglar alarm. No, I'm all right.
Yeah.
The one though that I get asked is squirmy worms.
I've never been asked that.
Squirmy
worms.
Squirmy worms.
Squirmy worms.
Adrie's sister loves that one. She always asks me to say that. Squirmy worms.
That's a Scottish thing because we put these girls. Worms.
Curly Whirly. It's another one. The one that makes me laugh the most, right? I'll spell it out and then you say this, right? SPACE GHETTO.
Space ghetto.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
Oh no, you need to say it in an American accent, don't you? And then it sounds like
ghetto.
Space ghetto.
Oh, sorry, I fucked that one up, didn't I? That's what it is. You say it in American.
You say it in an American accent,
Space
and then
ghetto.
it sounds like a Scottish Spice Ghetto.
Yeah, Space Ghetto.
Space Ghetto.
The other one that I saw recently. See, I slipped back into almost like my international accent there. I'm going to just try and talk full Scottish. I find it difficult. Sometimes people say to me, they'll be like, go and do your Scottish accent. And I'm like, I literally can't do it. Like if I meet someone from Scotland, if I'm back home, just slip into it right away. Yeah. I notice I say I a lot. Every sentence starts with I. I was down the street.
But if I meet someone Scottish and I've had a few pints,
no problem.
Easy,
yeah. But if someone requests it, they're like, can you do a Scottish accent? I'm like, I'll do a caricature of it.
Exactly.
Like, that's what I find.
I don't know.
Yeah. You're right. How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. But sometimes I just even can hear myself right now. It's what I noticed when I first left Scotland. I went to America and nobody could understand me. It's fucking weird. So I remember we're in a campfire and I walked up to this girl. Everyone's just getting to know each other. I said, how you doing? My name's Neil. Nice to meet you. She's like, what did you say? And I was like, all right, nice to meet you. My name's Neil. What's your name? She's like, what did you say? I can't understand you. Say it again. I said, my name's Neil. What's your name? Nice to meet you. She's like, I'm sorry, I have no idea what you're saying. And then just walked away from me. And I was like, I remember being the first week I was away, I was quite depressed because it was my first time away from home for like a long period and at summer camp. And no one fucking understands me. I'm speaking English.
Your number one pickup line just went straight in the pan.
Well, it wasn't even a pickup line. It was just we're all introducing ourselves to each other. And I just remember people kind of make fun of you, bully you. No, they weren't bullying you, but they make fun of you for having a Scottish accent.
Yeah. Do you know when you sent me the form to fill out for the podcast and I had to write my name phonetically?
Yeah. That's mostly for non-Scottish people. I know how to say your name.
I know, but then I was thinking about it. I've not heard I don't even know the right pronunciation of my name anymore because Americans can't do it.
I'll tell you what it's not. It's not fucking Craig.
Craig.
Adri, you know this. We have an argument about this all the time. She's like, it's Craig. I'm like, it's fucking Craig. I don't know how to, it's not even spelled, it's spelled Craig. It's not Craig. That confused the hell out of me when I was. Yeah. What's the other one they say with like the same pronunciation with the
Don't know. Craig.
But the Craig one is, so you get that a lot.
All the time.
Craig
but then it's a difficult one for Vietnamese as well, so I'll answer to anything these days. You're a kind of
well, the phonetic one is, I mean, not just for Vietnamese names, there's people with like Eastern European names or whatnot. Like we just had Alenka Moget on the podcast and I asked her to phonetically spell it and I still had to ask her to and I still fucked it up. I was like, yeah, it's just so bad. But no, so I was in America and people just couldn't understand me. And the crux was, I'm using fancy words like crux, like would never use that in Scotland.
Who are you?
I know, right? Who the fuck are you? I said to this, I remember saying to this guy, I remember his name, Tom Sawyer. I said, Tom, is that your towel? And he's like, what? I was like, is that your towel? Because we were packing up to move into different cabins. I was like, is that your towel? And I picked it up and I was like, is this yours? He's like, oh, my towel. I thought you were saying turtle. And it was that first time I was like, oh, towel. Like, I'm saying towel. Because in Glasgow, everyone knows what a fucking towel is.
And in context as well.
A little bit, right? Yeah.
Looking
Americans don't do context
No,
well,
that's
though.
true.
Americans, I mean, as we know, my beautiful wife is American, but they have the worst understanding of accents. Like, same you mentioned earlier, like bottle of water. I remember going into Subway. I used to do this as a bit when I did comedy, but it was true. I would go in, be like, all right, can I get the Parmesan and herbs bread? Start off on the wrong foot right away, and they'd look and you'd point. They'd be like, "Oh, Parmesan and herbs, yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, the Parmesan and herbs. Can I get a tomato and onion and cheese, please?" No idea. Oh, tomato. Yeah, okay, right, tomato, whatever. And then lastly, you'd be like, I mean, I remember it so clearly. I'd be like, "Can I get a bottle of water?" And you'd point to the fucking fridge behind them that only has bottles of water in it. What else could it be? And they'd be like, I don't know what you're saying. And I would have to do what you did, like, oh, bottle of water. And they're like, oh, why didn't you say so? I'm like, I fucking did.
I mean, I think they just do that to. You probably get a wee scorecard.
You think so?
That's the one more clueless Scottish we got.
No, so I was there. I lived in America on and off, mostly on for 5 years. And it actually really pissed me off by the end. I got really pissed off about it. And I've told this story a million times before. I'd go to Dunkin' Donuts where I lived all the time. And every time I went, it was just I had to explain myself because they would get excited. Like, I know it's sweet and it's nice, but I just wanted a fucking donut and a coffee. So I'd go in with like, can I get a donut and a Boston cream because that was my favourite. And then the joke I kind of told, which again is true, the girl would be like, oh my God, where are you from? And I'd get like a variation of that every time. And I'd have to be like, I'm from Scotland. I live just down the road. I've been here for 5 years. Can I get my coffee and my donut now? You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of got a little bit annoying, and it's nice to the attention. And then also one time I worked in New York for a little bit and I was single. And then this girl was like, I can't remember what exactly happened, but she was kind of like, are you single? Something like that. And I was like, yeah, I am. She's like, so-and-so really likes you. Like, would you like to go on a date with her or something like that? And I was so conscious of Americans like really love the Scottish accent that I remember saying, has she actually spoken to me? Or has she just heard my accent? Because like, I don't want to go on a date with someone who's just because I've got a Scottish accent. I know I've told this story to Adrian. She's like, welcome to a girl's world when like guys just want to date you because of how you look. And I was like, well, you look good. So what's wrong with that? But she's like, that's what it's like. You don't know if they actually like you for you or...
Can you just talk to me a little bit more? Oh, I love when you say that.
Yeah. And at that point...
Say it again.
Yeah. Maybe when I was younger, definitely when I was younger, you'd be excited about that. But I guess at this stage, I was just like...
I think the Scottish accent's been voted one of the sexiest. But it's also, I think, some of them, one of the most disgusting accents.
100%. The Glaswegian, for sure. So this is what I find funny as well. So I meet people, and I meet two different types of people. You may be the same. And Adri's seen this, and sometimes they'll be next to each other. And the first one will go, oh, you've got a really, I'll just do American accent because I'm normally American. Oh my God, you got a really soft Scottish accent. Like, I can really understand you. You got a different accent. I was like, yeah, no, I've lived away for a long time. I speak slowly, and yeah, thank you. I tried my best. Then literally the next person will be like, oh my God, you have the strongest Scottish accent I've ever heard. Can anyone understand you? And I'm like,
yeah, 100%.
But the question I'll say is, have you been to Scotland? And the one who thinks I have a soft accent will be like, oh yeah, I've been loads of times.
Yeah.
The one who thinks I have a strong Scottish accent will never have been.
They've only seen Braveheart.
Pretty much, yeah.
Seen an Aussie's impression.
Outlander, is it? Homelander? I know he's got a kilt and his shirt off all the time. That's all I know.
Outlander.
Is that Outlander?
Yeah.
But do you get that as well?
Oh, all the time. You know, from people that are friends, I think it's that familiarity as well. And then I was watching, because my boyfriend thought I had a strong Scottish accent, and I sometimes do. But then I introduced him to Still Game.
Right, one of my favourite shows of all time.
So good.
So
I introduced him to that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of...
Do you have the subtitles on?
You know, even with the subtitles, it's not... I don't think it travels well. There's so many Glasgowisms.
Very specific Glasgow.
Very, very specific.
Yeah.
So even if you can understand what's being said, Do you find it funny? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand how Kevin Bridges is so famous, because I personally think he's hilarious. He's one of the funniest comedians there's ever been. I think there's like Billy Connolly and then Kevin Bridges. Like, I think he's that funny. But his stuff is very Glaswegian, and he's very famous, not just in Scotland, all over the UK. And I'm like, how do people get this? Because, like, you know the bit he does about being on the bus and a madman gets on the bus? He talks about just, and then someone will come on and start arguing with the driver about the money being, he doesn't have enough money. Whether it's true or not, but he talks about like a madman getting on the bus.
Yeah.
I've lived that experience so many times, and you try not to make eye contact with them, because I told you I lived in Bishopbriggs, and to get to the city you had to go through quite rough neighbourhoods. So I'd get on the bus, there'd be nobody on it. By the time we got to the city, it'd be packed, and there'd be plenty of nice people, but every now and again you get a fucking madman that would come on.
Was that in the 88?
No, that's the Cadder bus, right? That went through the Bishopbriggs Cross.
Okay.
Right? We were in the other end of Bishopbriggs, basically.
Yeah.
So we got a bus. It's number 16 at the time.
The last, because we could get the fancy ones, the X85 or the X87.
Ah, that was Express
That was
one.
Express.
Yeah.
Straight-
So that was
straight down the
miles from
motorway.
us, yeah.
But the 88 would take you through Springburn and Bishopbriggs, and obviously the opposite way on the way home. And the last bus in the 88 was great fun.
Yeah.
You
get a lot of bands
oh,
on.
magic.
Yeah. Well, so Kevin Bridges does this joke about a madman getting on the bus and how you just don't want to make eye contact. And it's also that similar thing if they ask you, like, what team do you support?
Yeah.
And you're like, I remember similar experiences where you're just like, look down, don't make eye contact, please don't sit next to me, please don't sit next to me, please don't talk to me. And yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few mad bus experiences. I was coming home from work. It was like the rush hour bus. It wasn't late. Can't remember what happened. This woman just kind of started flipping her nut at me because I was looking round. She's like, "Fuck are you staring at?"
Yeah, it's shit like that.
And then
right?
she was taking the piss. Oh, you think you've got your wee shirt and tie on? You think you can fucking?
They pick up on anything.
Sorry,
fucking shirt and tie band. Why you fucking wearing the shirt and tie?
Your wee fucking job and all that with your wee tie.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? Stuff
It's like going
that.
back to high school again.
I know, it's not.
If your school bag was wrong, we had a kid in school who
briefcase wanker.
Like, it was a briefcase. His strap, his over the shoulder strap broke, so he carried it around like a briefcase one day. That's him briefcase for the rest of his school life.
It is stuff like that, right? You wear the wrong pair of shoes or the wrong jumper, and then that's it. But shit, what was I going to say? Oh, so talking about, like she's giving you shit for your shirt and tie, and you're trying not to make eye contact with them. We talked about all these things. I've talked about it with Adri and things like that, and she understands. She's been to Glasgow plenty of time. But the last time we went back, it's just not changed a bit, right? So we were walking down.
When were you last back?
A couple of years ago, yeah. So we're walking down Buchanan Street. Nice day. I think Buchanan Street's one of the most expensive shopping districts in all of the UK. It's pretty nice, but it's fucking Glasgow, right? So we're walking down, and then there's this guy behind us, and he's just yelling stuff. And we kind of look around, we see he's kind of all dressed in black, and he's obviously, this is the difference, right? Back in the day, you'd be like, he's just fucking mental. Now you're like, and now I genuinely feel bad for this person. I'm like, he must have mental health issues. It's not really normal to be walking down the street yelling. He was yelling like, heretics, and another bunch of nonsense, right? And he's getting closer to us, and as he's walking by us, and this goes back to this thing of don't make eye contact with people. It really is real. As he's walking by us, there's a young man probably my age, maybe a bit younger, whatever, walking in the opposite direction, and he briefly makes eye contact with him and has a little smile. And this guy goes, "The fuck are you looking at?" Right next to me and Adri. Now, if that was me, I would bottle it, to use a Scottish phrase. I'd shit myself and be like, "Oh no, nothing," and just keep walking. But it's Glasgow. So the guy he says it to goes, "I'm fucking looking at you. How are you going to do about it?" And then they stop, and Adri's like dragging me, because she knows like knife crime is a thing as well. And she's like, this is not good to be in the middle of the street. It's different to America where you'd expect them to bring out guns, but it's still Glasgow. It's not cool. And so they started like yelling at each other in the middle of Buchanan Street. The whole of Buchanan Street stopped to look at them, and Adri's like dragging me away. And I'm like, no, I want to see what happens. And she's like, move. Then the next night we were watching Scotland against Georgia, I think it was. And so no Rangers Celtic division. Yeah. Everyone's there to watch Scotland.
That's quite nice in the city. You'd have thought would come together as a national team.
She couldn't believe it. I was like, this is Glasgow. Guy wanted to get a drink because it was ridiculous. Last orders was at 10 o'clock, which is stupidly early. Even I went to buy a drink and I missed it by 10 seconds. And the guy was like, oh no, sorry, tills are closed now. Like, we literally can't. And I was like, right, fair enough. I wasn't really drinking, so it didn't really bother me. But it bothered the guy next to me who wanted one more beer. He's not like he was middle-aged guy, dressed well, not a Bam or a Ned or anything. I mean, maybe he is, but he was still just a normal guy. So he didn't like that. So he tried to reach over and pour himself a beer, which then, of course, the staff don't like that. And I think somebody who was watching the game either owned the pub or worked there or knew the owner. So she jumped in and it just all kicked off. And you're just like, well, we're not all watching Scotland right now. Like, why is this happening in the middle of Glasgow City, like right next to George Square? Like, this is a nice neighbourhood. Then when he left, he took his change and threw it in. He's like, here's your fucking tip, and threw in all these coins, like, rattled off the door. And so not everyone had seen it. So some people are like, what the fuck is going on?
I used to work in Regano. It was just off behind the Gallery of Modern Art, just off Buchanan Street. The oldest established restaurant in Glasgow. All the celebrities. It was kind of this Art Deco bar. And the story goes that the shipbuilders would bring in wood from building the
whatever shipbuilders build.
They were building a big fancy boat, and they'd swap the wood for pints. So it was kitted out all art deco. It'd been around for ages, years and years and years and years. Sinatra went, and all sort of celebrities went when they were coming through Glasgow. And we had this regular, and he would always get into a fight with someone about something. It could be anything. Just get kind of
the wrong way,
loud and gobby. And I was like,
shirt and tie.
I was like, right, I know.
Let's fucking guy in a shirt and tie.
It wasn't a shirt and tie this time. It was worse than that. So I said, right, I think it's why don't you go home now? I think that's probably best for everyone. We'll see you again tomorrow. So he leaves, and he goes away for quite a bit. It then comes. He'd obviously forgotten one more thing to say to me. He comes marching back in. He says, "At least my specs don't look like the fucking ones a blind lassie would wear for the NHS." And he was right enough. I had my big, chunky, clear frames on. He's like, free for the NHS that a blind lassie in school would wear. And he went away again. He just had to come back in for that final dig.
In Glasgow,
been playing in his mind.
It is. I mean, like I said, I've travelled all over the world, and even bunch of my cousins have moved to Edinburgh now. And I remember the last time we were back, we were in Edinburgh with them, and I was like, it is different to Glasgow, right? And they were like, yeah, it's totally different. It's different vibe, different people. It's weird.
The Edinburgh and Glasgow, I compare to Hanoi and Saigon. People ask me what the differences are, and I think that's the best way to describe it. You know, Edinburgh's it's your old history. It's quite pretty, but Glasgow and Saigon, they're like the
real place.
The real places. The real places. What's it? You'll have more fun at a Glasgow funeral than you will an Edinburgh wedding.
Gee, that's probably true. That is actually, you say that's 100% true, right?
Yeah. Australian friends going to Scotland for the first time, and they stopped asking me for things to do in Edinburgh. I was like, the best thing you can do, and I tell them this wee story. You can walk up the Royal Mile, and then if you take a right down Fisherman's Close, and then keep walking, about 100 more metres, and then get on the first train to Glasgow, and that's the best thing you can do in Edinburgh.
Well, do you get it? So one thing that I get, even just yesterday, I met someone who's like, oh, I used to live in London, Vietnamese guy. And I was like, oh, cool, have you been to Scotland? Because I told him I was from Glasgow. And he's like, oh, yeah. Been to Edinburgh. All the time. I've had people go, oh, do you think you can go to Glasgow? I drove through it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well,
but no, it's not really crazy because it's a shithole, but it's interesting. Nobody goes to Scotland to Glasgow.
It's quite surprising how many people that live in England have never been to Scotland. I don't want to name names, but a friend of ours who runs a very nice fish and chip shop here has never been to Scotland.
Never been to Scotland.
And thinks he can do a Scotch pie. Fuck off.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, and the ones that have been to Scotland have generally been to Edinburgh. The thing is with Glasgow, it's a great city, good music, good nightlife. There's not much to do though as a tourist. I understand when people are like, I've never been. I was like, yeah, I mean, you go to Edinburgh, you're going to see all the sights. Glasgow, not really much
some
to
nice bars, good music, Kelvin Grove.
Yeah, but it's not really enough to be like, I'm going to go to Glasgow, right? if you're a tourist? Because you got Skye and you get the north and Loch Lomond and Edinburgh's got all the history. I think that's why people say, "Oh, I've driven through it," because there is a motorway through Glasgow.
You know, there's nothing I love better than going for a wee walk in the park in Kelvin Grove and then around Finnieston, especially when the weather's shite and you can get into the park bar and there's some music and a log fire and a pint of Guinness.
Would you ever live back there?
I don't think so. Not for a long time. I mean, not for...
Maybe, though, in the future? I've been away, I would never live there again.
Yeah, I've got no desire to move back. It's just... I've got no desire to. I think now that I've experienced the tropics, I think Glasgow's just going to be too cold for me.
Well, that's part of it. It is miserable.
I would love to, at some point, maybe spend some time in Europe.
Yeah. It's not Glasgow.
That's not Glasgow. But yeah, don't think so.
Yeah, I'm the same. I feel almost a bit like a fake Scottish person as well, to be honest, because it's a big part of my identity. I think for most people it is.
It is. It's
especially
massive.
When you leave, people hook onto that. You're like, oh, you're from Scotland. Yeah. They don't say you're from Scotland because that's what I would say. They'd be like, you're from Scotland. Americans love it, but I've not lived there for 22 years.
And when I talk about it with other people, I'm always bigging it up and talking because I do miss it.
Oh, I'm doing the opposite. I don't big it up.
Oh, do you not?
No.
Oh, it's the most beautiful place.
No.
And then they're like, oh well, why did you leave? I'm like, well, actually, then you mentioned
it. Not that beautiful.
But I do look at it through rose-tinted specs, and then once I'm there, a week's fine.
Yeah.
See the family, see the friends, right?
Raining the whole time. Yeah. All right, well, we'll wrap this up. I hope you can understand that. We didn't go too Scottish. Sometimes you went quite posh, actually, I noticed. I think it's hard.
That'll be the Lindsay in me.
Yeah, I know I did. I thought that at the time. I was like, that's the Lindsay coming out of him right now. Oh, I meant to tell you as well. This is actually how much my accent has changed. So when I was at university, I've said that even posh, university, right? Which was in Glasgow, went to Strathclyde University. See, even it's so different how you say it. Like I said, university. Which would be how I would normally say it. But now I would say university.
Yeah.
Pronounce everything to make sure that all those syllables get pronounced.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I was at uni, I went to school, went to university, all from Glasgow pretty much. I think maybe one guy from Kilmarnock, which is only like half an hour away, right? So it was almost like an extension of high school. But anyway, people from the south side of Glasgow and from the north side, they would tell me I have the strongest Glaswegian accent they'd heard. And I'm from like a relatively nice family. I said my mum and dad are working class, but not like super rough. My family are all quite well spoken.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was that. Even my friends, nobody was that rough. But apparently I had the strongest Glaswegian accent.
I think out of all the Scottish people that I know here, you've got the most kind of dulled down Americanized.
Yeah, well, I've been away for so long and I lived in America. Adri's American, obviously. So it's wild to think that it has changed that much. And I don't have any recordings of myself from back then. I would love to hear what I sounded like. I mean, I said it's even hard to just mimic it. But a few years ago, not my last trip back, but a few years ago, I caught up with an old uni friend. My uni class, it's really sad. Nobody connects. Well, maybe other people have. I haven't. I've not stayed friends.
They're having a great time.
Yeah, they're having a great time.
Remember
I
that
was
Neil
just thinking,
guy?
we just had a 20-year anniversary of graduating like last year. I was like, we should have tried to do something. So I was just thinking actually last night, maybe next time I go back, I'll try and bring everyone together. It would be kind of nice. But we totally drifted apart. But I caught up with one girl who kind of stayed friends with on Facebook. Not one of those people you don't really ever talk to. I think when I messaged her, the last message had been like 12 years previously or something like that. She's got like 3 kids now, husband, all of that stuff. But we managed to connect and we had a coffee on Buchanan Street. And she did mention, she's like, yeah, your accent has changed so much. You sound so different to when I knew you. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I would imagine so.
I got a message from someone on Facebook recently, and they had friends from school, but I didn't recognise her at all because she'd changed her name on Facebook to her married name. She's got 3 kids. She'd like ugly duckling to swan as well. So I had to go back to like her profile photo from school times. I was like, oh, that's you. What?
I thought you were going to say the opposite. I've had a few people, the years haven't been kind to them and they've gone from swan to ugly duckling. And it's kind of a shame. Like there was one girl, my best friend sent me a picture of her recently and he was like, I won't say her name, but he's like, do you remember who that was? And she was one of the kind of good looking girls in high school, a lot of drug issues and stuff like that. She was from one of those kind of rougher neighbourhoods. obviously had a hard life, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because I get people telling me how young I look and
Oh,
how
you do, I know.
And then I'm looking at her and I'm like, oh my God. And there's a couple other people, and I'm like, they put on weight, they get older, they just get different. I'm like, oh, when I remember you, you were totally different. So I think most of my experiences when I've seen people, it's not, the years haven't been kind to them.
You're much older than me though as well, so it might that'll be the
It's
extra.
going to come to you.
I know.
Yeah,
I can feel it. I can feel it.
All right. Thank you if you're still watching. I hope you could understand us. I think you could. Thank you for doing this. It's been good to chat with you.
Thank you.
And I'll see you in the rabbit hole Irish sports bar, because there's no Scottish bars to hang out in.
We'll make our own.
That's it. Well, you had your own bar, but it was you went down the gay bar route instead of the
I know. If I'd had
the Scottish bar route,
if I
or a
had to-
Scottish gay bar.
I think that might be a wee bit niche.
Too niche. It's just you. It's just you.
That's
that's there.
great.
All right. Cheers.